Oh, when CSK are hot, they are so good to watch. This was the very best of the Super Kings. It may be too late for this season, but it still keeps a Super Kings fan excited for the next. That partnership of Ruturaj Gaikwad and Devin Conway is something that teams will seriously look at going forward. 110 in 11 overs. Conway following up scores of 86 and 56 with another 87 not out. Seems to be in some other level after he's been back from his wedding in South Africa, and he set up a score of 208 for the Super Kings. Lovely little finish by MS Dhoni as well, and plenty to ponder for the Delhi Capitals, who must win this game to keep their playoff chances in their hands and well and truly alive. We will look back at that innings on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by IQ 95G. I'm sure we'll get to a very happy Imran Tahir in just a moment as he sees the best of CSK. Before that, Daniel Vettori. This is some CSK team when things go well, at least with bat. Yeah.
They look amazing. It's like Murali Vijay, Mike Hussey 2.0. These two look special. I mean, both of them played exceptionally well, but I thought the thing that stood out most was Conway versus Kuldeep Yadav.
Yes.
And he just took him down. And there was one question mark potentially on Devin Conway coming into international cricket, coming into the IPL, is how he would play spin, and he's answered that comfortably.
I'd like to get Imi's thoughts before I go deeper into this. Imi, that opening partnership, Ruturaj Gaikwad and Devin Conway, as a CSK admirer and fan of all these years, it seems just like they've found a natural sort of pairing to the great years of Hussey and Vijay, followed by Faf du Plessis, of course, and Shane Watson. And now we're seeing Devin Conway and Ruturaj. Something special coming here?
The way they played today and they played in the last game, I think Conway looks really good. And then obviously he's consistent with his runs and stuff, and he's a wonderful player. Like Dan said, there was always a question mark any foreign player come to India that how they play spin, but I think he proved himself. And I know him personally. He was our junior. He played under here with us Dolphins B team, and a wonderful kid as well. So I'm happy for him that he got some runs, and he proved that he's good enough to play against spin and all form of bowling.
Yeah, I think we have to go deeper into that takedown of Kuldeep Yadav, an in-form bowler at the top of his confidence and game. And Devin Conway just seemed to have all the shots against him. What stood out for you in just the way he attacked Kuldeep?
Well, I think it is all the shots. I think that's the right way to say it. That sometimes when a batsman comes to India, they may have one or two shots that they can actually attack spinners with, and they may get lucky with it. But he swept solid Kuldeep Yadav, and then those two shots over cover were exceptional. But I thought the one shot that was amazing was when Kuldeep went to his slider, and he actually nailed it. It was good pace, it was full, and he still was able to connect with it and hit it through the covers. So it's not like you have one area you can block up to Devin Conway now, because he does reverse sweep, he does sweep, he charged Axar Patel, so he's actually ticking every single box to be a quality player of spin, and he will intimidate spin bowlers now with that style of game.
You said that this is an improved player against spin. What were his sort of areas of weakness that you think now that he's significantly overcome?
I just think it was a lack of experience, and I have heard him talk about this. The first time I think he faced Bangladesh, and he faced Mahedi Hussain.
Yes.
The littler Mahedi,
yes.
not big Mahedi, little Mahedi. And he said he'd never faced a spin bowler with that many revs on it, and it was a learning curve for him. And I think that's all it's taken, is just experiences against spin bowlers. And because he bats for so long, normally whatever format he plays in, he's going to get those experiences. And now he's got the confidence to partner that experience, and we're seeing the absolute best of him.
Anything that a spinner could have done when he's in that sort of nick? It looked like he had all the answers, all the shots, Emi. But looking at Conway, is there a weak spot? Is there something that Kuldeep Yadav could have done differently today?
Look, to be honest with you, not what we've seen. He looks like he was playing all over. So obviously at that stage, it's difficult for bowler to choose one side, because like Dan said, he reversed you and he play over extra cover, he play a slog sweep, so where you bowl to him. But I think just if I was Kuldeep, I try to get hit one side rather than hitting both sides of the pitch, and that could be my plan. But I'm just saying, on the day you don't know as a bowler. But look, he played fantastic. He played all over, so I think you have to give him the credit.
Yeah, absolutely. Full credit to Devin Conway. Amy, I think it seems like an obvious question, rhetorical question. Surely this guy now doesn't move from this position. CSK played him one game and then dropped him for a different overseas combination. Gaikwad and Conway is the future for CSK for you?
Well, it looks like it, and like I said, he's been consistent, and he showed his class. He showed his confident, and that's what you need from a young player. And if Chennai, obviously, they're looking to keep him for another 2 years, I think probably this is the good opening pair. They can put their faith in, and well, it looks like it. I think he got his spot right with Ruturaj, and which is really nice to see.
I wonder if at all it's fair to say that there's something about the presence of Conway the other end that also seems to be working for Ruturaj Gaikwad. We did see a fine innings from him earlier, but is there anything at all that perhaps your partner suddenly changes the way you play? Because Ruturaj Gaikwad looks $1 million, not the player who was struggling for form, averaging 10 or 12 in the first 6-7 games.
I think I feel like they've complemented each other back to that Pune game where Gaikwad got in form against the pace of Sunrisers, and it just feels like they're feeding off each other. They don't sense any weaknesses. They can take down any type of bowler, particularly pace. I mean, Gaikwad tonight again against Nokia just looked excited by the prospect of facing fast bowlers, and Conway has no issues at all against pace as well. So as a bowling attack, what do you actually come up against them with, particularly on these good wickets? And I think in terms of are they the future, I think sometimes teams can overreact to a performance and say these guys are great, but you can't overreact to the skill level. And I think that's what we're seeing from Gaikwad and Conway, is that there's no weaknesses because of the style of play. They can attack any bowler that comes at them.
I like that you mentioned the skill level for a Gaikwad. We had a nice long chat yesterday about the attack to KKR, bowling short stuff to him. Gaikwad doesn't give you that impression as an opposition, as someone you can scare with pace. Seems very comfortable for a player who's not played a lot of international cricket.
I want to try a guy bowl sort of 115k, 120, because I think that's the only thing that we haven't seen from him. So maybe a little dibbly-dobbly could have been the guy tonight. But yeah, it just, when you have an opener who doesn't fear pace, it somehow sets the tone for the rest of the batting order, because the bowler knows that he can't get away with any mistakes. Whereas we talked about KKR last night and was saying that bowling teams could get away with mistakes and they could keep coming back to the short stuff. Against this opening partnership, you have to be inch perfect, otherwise you're going to get hurt.
All right, let's talk about Delhi's bowling, Imi. We thought this could be their strongest bowling lineup. Still an argument or a debate whether Mustafizur Rahman should stay in this team ahead of Anandrik Nortje. What did you make of their bowling, though? It again looked like they were just getting hit, almost waiting for the innings to end and see how many they'll need to chase. Could they have bowled any better for you?
That's what happened when, as a bowling side, you see the other guys, they are non-stoppable, both hands, Ruturaj and Conway. And yeah, obviously, then you look at each other and think who's going to try and attack them and get them out. But looks like they didn't give no opportunity to their bowlers. But I still think, look, Mustafiz can come into the squad, but I still believe that Nokia, with his pace and with his accuracy, probably didn't go in his way tonight. But I think he's still the bowler who can fear opposition. But like I said, the both openers, I think they did their homework. They obviously love to face pace. And I think when you other thing that when you're getting retained as an opener, then I think the team have trust in you that you have no fear. You're gonna face pace, or you're gonna face spin. You are good enough to face both. So I just think that obviously Kuldeep, another main guy who obviously the night didn't go in his way. But I think Khalil been really consistent. He bowled really well, even though they got 208. But I think he was the standout bowler for me.
Yeah, I mean, Khalil Ahmed continues to have this mighty impressive season. Just trying to think of what he's doing right. That Shardul Thakur, who's had a lot of games, who's also big money signing for them, big capped international, seems to be going for plenty more often than not.
I think Khalil Ahmed's looking at all the other left-arm fast bowlers, Indian fast bowlers who are doing so well, and quickly realised they've got to catch up after the injury. But the Khalil Ahmed that we saw a few years ago had the ability to take wickets, but he could also leak a few runs, and now it feels like he's ready to bowl any time of the innings. And you see his skill set at the back end, where I think he nailed his slow balls in terms of the sequencing of them, and then the bowling to Raidu, getting it out wide. And bar I think the six from Dhoni, which could have been caught if long off was in a normal position, he would have had 2 for 24. And that sort of performance in an innings of 208 stands out so much.
Shardul Thakur, would you expect more out of him as a bowler, or do you tend to believe like, no, this is the kind of bowler that is going to go for a few? He's going for a lot these days.
I think so. I think he is, thinking of the CSK days, he always complimented whoever else was going well, whether it was Deepak Chahar or Josh Hazlewood, so he could fall back into that I suppose, third seamer role, whereas with Delhi it feels like he's a bit more front line, and so that puts a little bit more pressure. I thought tonight he just got touch full, and it seemed too easy for the likes of Gaikwad whenever he came up against them. So we used to seeing all these tricks with Shardul Thakur through the middle stages or the back end of power play or being aggressive at the death. But I think the surfaces potentially haven't allowed him to do that.
Amy, you know Shardul Thakur well. CSK used him very differently as a middle over sort of impact strike, bowler. Delhi seemed to be giving him the new ball 2 in the power play again today, just the one after that. What do you think is his best use?
Like Dan mentioned, I played last year and year before with him, and then I think he was very consistent and he was very good. Whenever Dhoni bhai brought him, he did his job, and actually more than the job, he was obviously he was a proper bowler for us. But I think because obviously Delhi is a different setup, you obviously bought for so much money, and then now you wanna probably push a little bit harder, bit under pressure because of the money or whatever. And then obviously you are a frontline bowler, so then you have to bowl in power play. And where in CSK, I think he was coming after power play, and sometime he bowled one over in the power play. So that also helped as a seamer when your field is out and stuff. So I think maybe a little bit pressure, but I think Delhi expectations are very high from him. And unfortunately things are not going in his way, but I still believe that he's a talented enough bowler to bowl in any situation.
Well, they say you look at Shardul Thakur, the package, look at his batting. It's something that they'll need to look at because it might need to come to the rescue. Delhi need to get 209. It's a big score. Well, evidence of the surface seems like a good one with the kind of shots we saw. So this is gettable?
It is gettable, but I think it's relying on that big three of Powell, Warner and Rishabh Pant. Kuldeep Yadav didn't seem to get anything out of the surface. So that signifies that it is a pretty good wicket, and we saw Conway be able to hit through the line on numerous occasions. So Delhi will be up against it, chasing 208. We talk about it all the time, that it's one stumble in these big chases, but they do have the personnel to get there.
Yeah, I think we didn't give enough time to was the change for Dubey and Jadeja means they're effectively without a bowler who can bowl 3 or 4 overs more often than not. So someone else will have to come to the party. Clearly Dwayne Bravo, but the likes of Simarjit and Mukesh Chaudhary aren't bowling therefore. So is this a depleted Chennai bowling attack?
Well, I suppose the onus goes on Moeen Ali and Thikshana to get through 8 overs. We saw the 12 overs from those two plus Jadeja in the last game, probably on a surface that suited them a little bit more, but Jadeja's a class bowler, and so you can call on him at any stage. So someone is going to have to step up in this innings.
You think they'll get this, Delhi? CSK defended? Too many?
It's hard to bet against 208. So
yeah. Amy, I think it's pretty straightforward. You put on that yellow T-shirt in good time, so I'm guessing you're backing your boys, your Chennai boys, to defend this?
Yeah, look, obviously this total, definitely I'm backing the boys to defend it, because obviously they can't ask more than this, what the batsmen have done. And I think it's time for the bowlers to obviously stand up and do what is required to win the game
in their way. All right. In their way is David Warner, an informed David Warner. Let's see how this goes. Big game for Delhi Capitals. Pick up the chat with Imran, Tahir and Daniel Vettori at the end of the game. Join us then on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Q95G.